Hey, welcome back to Turntable Guy. We've got a big beast on the bench today. I got my camera on wide angle right now because this thing's so bloody big. It is a phase linear model 8000 series 2. It's a linear tracker. This is also known as the Pioneer PL-1000. They are identical in every way. I guess what happened is either this was a Pioneer design or a phase linear design, and Pioneer bought out phase linear and either rebranded their table or phase linear designed it and Pioneer rebranded the phase linear. I'm not sure what the exact story is, but this thing's big. It is 17 and a half inches deep and 19 and a quarter inches wide. Just huge. And the reason for that is, there's a whole section here dedicated to the linear transport arm. So that's why it's so big. Built in 1981. And quite the marvel of technology here for the model year. Power on is in this area here. We have speed selection, side selection, we have repeat, arm elevation, which we're going to get to later, and a start and stop control. So it can be used manually or fully automatically. And this is what's neat about this arm. I've got it locked right now. There's an arm clamp here, so we're just going to unlock it. And this is the arm clamp here, which just twists out. Okay. Now, unlike other linear transport arms where there's a couple rails and the arm has a bushing that goes, the rail goes through the bushing as it moves, and a belt. Actually, there's usually a belt over here and a motor which pulls a string and pulls the arm back and forth. This one is controlled by 3 rollers that are rolling on these 2 rails. So 2 at the front and 1 at the back. And the secret to this turntable is absolute level. If this turntable is not perfectly level, and mine it's not right now because I've moved it, the bubble level, that has to be absolutely perfect on the rails. So you have to take measurements here on the rails, and that bubble's got to be perfect. If not, these rollers are so delicate, they'll start moving. And just to give you an idea here, this is the jog control, which I've never seen on a turntable before. Watch this. You can see as I spin it here, the faster I go, the faster the arm goes. Look at this, back and forth. Pretty cool, eh? And when it reaches the end of the record, it'll return automatically. I don't know if you can stop it. Yeah, you can stop it, actually. Oh, no, it'll keep going. The service manual is available for both the PL-1000 and this phase linear model. And it gets to home base there, and the platter shuts off. So pretty cool as far as technology and how advanced this is for the model year. The tone arm's really nice too. It's fully set. You can fully set it up, which is nice. It's equipped right now with get this, a brand new Shure V15 Type 4. The stylus is brand new. The cartridge is brand new. It came with a table. I'm just going to lift up the stylus protector here. What's the issue with this table, though? Here's the issue. So if we press start and stop, the arm should move to the start of the record at a 30 centimeter or 12 inch, and it should drop. Now we're not getting anything. It does this once in a while. Now, I don't think it's logic controlled. It's a logic issue. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's doing it that time. It could be dirty switches as well. Now, because it's not perfectly level, so it's not going all the way. Now, if the arm is slightly to the left, it'll move. And if it's slightly to the right, it'll move. So there's a sensor in here. And that's what keeps the linear tracking motor moving, right? So what's in the center, it should stop. But if we hit stop, and we hit start again, there we go, that's better. See, it should come to this point here and drop. And when I hit the arm elevator, it's doing absolutely nothing. So, from what I've been reading, there is a belt in the tone arm mechanism that controls the motor that lifts and lowers the tone arm. So I'm wondering if that belt is shot, or if there's an issue with the motor. I'm not sure, but we're going to have to get into this. And I've got the service manual up on my screen, and we're going to be following that thing to the letter, because I have never worked on one of these before, and I don't have a tremendous amount of love for linear tracking turntables. I think they're way overcomplicated for what you get. And are there any improvements? I really don't know. Like I've said in the past, I understand the theory. Records are cut in this type of motion, and to play them back in that same type of motion should have advantages. But as far as the differences in sound and distortion from that to a properly aligned radial tone arm, I don't know. I mean, that's something for people who can actually measure the differences to weigh in on. But I'm not going to deny this is a cool table, and hopefully we can get it fixed. So I'm just going to peruse a little bit more through the service manual and learn how we open this thing up, because I am not going to go in here and start removing screws until I know exactly what to do. So I shall return. Okay, step one was removing the 4 feet, and they unscrew, and then there's an 8mm bolt that you just unscrew as well. We're going to remove this platter, and I've never seen a platter screwed down before. There's our direct drive quartz motor. I want to show you something. Right here, PNR 113. I'm thinking that's Pioneer. Okay, now we're gonna follow the service manual, which isn't the easiest, I'll be honest with you. Remove the top cover, 5 Phillips screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that. Turntables are very, very complex. Okay. That's the top cover. All right, shift the tone arm across to the center. All right, I'm going to plug it in to do this. I don't want to move the arm by itself by pushing it. I want to let the motor do it. The motor's going to go crazy because there's no platter on there. So we'll just turn it off. Okay, so the motor's all the way over. Okay, shift tone arm across, lift the panel up and disconnect the 3 connectors. Okay, so my guess is that this should be loose now, and it is not. Doesn't say anything about these 3 screws. Who wants to guess that these 3 screws have something to do with it? You think? Wow, these, I'm going to say that. Service manual is really bad. How can it not make, it'll mention those 5 screws we just removed, but it's not going to mention these 3 screws that go all the way through. And that makes me worry. Like, what else are they leaving out, you know, that's important? I know it's logical to assume that these are part of it, but, sorry, that it's, you know, not mentioned, the 3 massive bolts here. Look at these things. That's very disappointing. Okay. And there you go. See what I mean? Like, I'm just reading along with you guys. I should lock this tone arm. Hang on a sec here. You know, and it doesn't mention anything about that. It's annoying. Okay, what 3 connectors? There's probably 8. Okay. Looks like they're right behind the motor or in front of it. Looks like it might be these 3 here. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. Looks like it's these 3 right here. And they're marked so you can't get them backwards. There's a little pin missing here. These undoubtedly go to the controls at the front here. Okay, we're going to lift this up very gently. Not to damage anything. And our power cable is there as well. Hang on 1 second. I just have to remove some twist ties. Okay, I got the lid off here. Just so you see, I know it's going to be upside down. Pioneer. So if you download a service manual for the PL-1000, I'm sure you'll be fine. Wow. So here's our main board here. Direct drive motor, which I'm sure we can put a little bit of oil in. I noticed that on this one foot here, all the rubber, the insulating rubber for these springs is destroyed. But they're also missing, which to me means someone's been in here before. Otherwise, they would have been sitting here, right? And I did notice that when I was removing the feet, the way they were installed was incorrect. The turntable had absolutely no spring action. These springs are here obviously to suspend it, and they were, the way the foot came up, it was totally flat against the bottom, so there was no springiness, which defeats the purpose of the springs, obviously. So yeah, somebody's been in here before, so that's what I'm noticing right away. All right, so the question then becomes, where is our belt? Now you can see we got a motor over here and a gear. Oh, here's our belt. But is this the drive belt or is this the lifter belt? Excuse my head. Whatever belt this is, it looks pretty sad. Oh yeah. This has been sitting forever. I'm not sure exactly what that does, but yeah, you think that belt's seen better days? Now, I don't know what I have that could match up with that. Knowing my luck, I'm probably going to have to order something. That's probably the smallest belt I have. Oh, no, this is smaller, but it's really thin too. What I've done in the past is I've doubled these up in a kind of a twisting motion. It's not the best thing to do, not that one, but it can, at least get you going. Like I just twist them like this, and then I pop these in just in the meantime for testing and all that kind of stuff. So we're just going to put the original over here. We'll try that because I know I don't have anything that's going to match up. And I'm just wondering if that's the only belt. We definitely have the motor there. Okay, I'm gonna tilt this forward a little bit here because it's pretty light now. And okay, the arm is going to move on its rollers. We're talking about this area right here. Here's our motor. Here's our pulley, and we got a gear system there. So that's what I'm talking about. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean those with alcohol and put a drop of oil on that motor just to lube it. I'm sure it's never been lubricated since it came from the factory. Just to remove any belt gunk from the old belt. Sorry if you can't see that, but I'm just cleaning this pulley with a little bit of alcohol. I'm going to clean the motor pulley as well. The motor's encased in rubber, which is nice. And just going to put a little drop of oil on that motor. Just on the shaft. Let it sink in. Just like that. Spin it a few times here, just get the oil to distribute on the motor shaft. Okay. And you can see that here's the foot springs. So they're supposed to be completely encased in this rubber material. But what happens is the rubber deteriorates after time and it just disintegrates. And because these are missing, that's why I'm thinking somebody's been in here. Actually, I could probably press all these out. You don't really need them in here. They're probably just going to get in the way anyway. Yeah, they're all shot. That's too bad. But I'm going to leave this crap around it anyway, just because a little bit of rubber is better than none. Okay. All right. What else? Let's do the direct drive motor while we've got this thing open. You're seeing that. Let's zoom in just a little bit here. It's an inverted bearing. So that means the ball bearing's here, and whatever oil you put on this thing is going to shoot right out. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean this. And we're going to use a really light grease on it. So I'm going to use a little bit of this Ultra Slick synthetic here. Just mix it up a little bit. Don't need a lot, because if you put too much, you'll never get this back down. Okay, that should do. You little sucker, you. All right, we'll let that drop down. I hate inverted bearings. They're just a dumb idea. They're really hard to seat as well, because the air doesn't escape through the top, right? So it's almost impossible to get these damn things to sit down once you re-oil them. Just got to let gravity and nature take care of the situation. All right, well, that's a good place for a pause. I'm gonna put the platter back on actually, and that'll help push some of that air out through the bottom and actually where it's got to go. So we'll do that and be back in a minute. Here's that first belt and motor area. I just want to show you what I just found. I don't know if this is affecting anything as of yet, but can you see right here? Crack number 1 and crack number 2. Why? Because you have a steel screw pressing down on a steel, this is part of the rail, I believe, and the only thing holding it in is plastic. And like I've mentioned in the past, when you drive steel through plastic and expect it to hold something, you get breakage. So I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to get some glue on here. It hasn't broken yet, but it's going to go. So we're definitely going to have to fix that. Some kind of limit switch here as well. There's our gear area and our motor, our 2 pulleys. I'm going to install that belt, and we'll get a little bit of glue on these cracks here before it splits all together. We learn things as we go here. This is the queuing mechanism right here. What happens here is there's the gear situation here. Here's the rail, which is attached here. And here is the lifter mechanism. This bar goes all the way across, and it goes to that white pad there, which in turn lifts the arm. So if I turn this motor here, you'll see, can you see that rising? And if you look over here, it's going to lift the arm as I continue to turn this. You can see the arm jumping up and down. So that is lifting the arm. So that's probably why our arm wasn't going up and down. And you can just see the tone arm there as I drop it now. You see it go down there? I know it's focusing behind, but you can see it kind of bouncing up and down. So there you go. So this is the queuing mechanism. What a crazy, crazy design. So I'm glad we don't have to take the arm apart. I thought it might be in the tone arm. All right, so I'm still going to get some glue on that crack there, so I shall return. Okay, right now I've got 9 volts on this motor. As you can see, this is the motor that drives the belt. It's spinning. I know it's hard to see, but it is spinning. You can hear it there. Okay, so we're just going to disconnect that. And what I really need to do is buy a nice bench power supply. Okay, so we know it's not the motor. But I think I found a problem here. So there's 2 micro switches here. This one up here. And it's really hard to see, but there's another one underneath. Let me get that view there. You can just kind of see it under there, the back side of it. There's 3 wires coming here. Black is common negative. We have white, which goes to the top micro switch, and yellow, which goes to the bottom. So when I put my multimeter on continuity test, and hang on, let me set this up with some clips. Okay, we're set across the top one. That's my multimeter beeping. If I close the micro switch here, you can see it shuts off. On, off. On, off. Okay. Now let me see if I can, it's really tough to get under here. I'm going to see if I can get some clips on the bottom one. Okay, I got some clips on the bottom one here. It is working now. Sorry, I can't see the button. There it is. If I close it, so I'm getting a connection now, which I wasn't getting before. Sorry, I know it's hard to see. Oh, there it goes. Now it's dead. Oh, now it's back. I've sprayed some contact cleaner in there, but I think we've got a faulty switch here. See, now it's up and open, but it should have connection now. So if I play with it, I think that's our problem. Because one of these tells the motor to start and one tells it to stop. So in other words, one tells it to lift, to go one way, and one tells it to spin the other way when it reaches the limit. See, this top one is closed right now when the arm is in the down position. And this one should be open, but right now it's, see, on and off, on and off. So there's definitely a problem with that micro switch. I'm going to keep trying to clean it, because boy, that's going to be a nightmare to replace. And these are really tiny. So I'm going to keep messing around with this. So cleaning is definitely not working. I'm getting a lot of resistance when the button is out. And you definitely, like when I press on this one, it's showing completely shorted, which is what you want. This one's showing resistance, so it's undoubtedly a dirty micro switch. So we're going to have to remove this this gear mechanism here. Looks like there's a couple clasps here, there, and in there. And from the looks of it, we just need to get a screwdriver in here and just gently pry that up like that. And do the same on this side. Push this back like that. Brittle plastics make me nervous. So we can just get this out of the way. And then we can get at that screw. You can just see it underneath the big gear there to remove that lower micro switch. For those of you who are interested, it's an Omron. Looks like a 5 amp, 125 volt, 3 amp, 250 volt AC, 3059R. I don't know if R means right and left. Omron SSL. There's the common where the black wire goes. Nothing goes to NO, normally open, and the yellow one goes to NC, normally closed. So, see if we can get one of these. I think it can open. I might try opening it. I mean, what's the worst that happens? I destroy it, right? Um, yeah, I'm going to mess around with this and see if I can open it and maybe see if there's some kind of scoring or something that needs some real sanding or cleaning. So check this out. This little cap comes off and it reveals our contacts. Try to keep this in the light here. Hang on. Shine a little bit of light here. So here's our contact, which so what we're trying to do is get connectivity from this post to this post. The center post is not touched, right? There's nothing there. So when you press down on this button, that little thing contacts either the inner post, and when it goes up, it makes contact there. So this is the normally closed position. So I'm trying to think, when the arm is down, this might be down as well, or is it the other way? No, I think this one's when the arm is up, I think this is in, and when the other one goes down, this goes. I know it's confusing. It doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little sandpaper, and we're just going to burnish these contacts right here, and then I'll come back with the multimeter and see if that's made any change. All right, look at this. Closed, open, or I don't know which one's open and closed. That's open, that's closed. And when it's closed now, or when there's contact going on, I'm getting nothing. Perfect. Before it was shooting between about 60 to 150. Now it's working perfect. So you can repair. See, no more flakiness. Always works. All right, so we have fixed. Fantastic. We have fixed this relay, or this this micro switch. That is awesome. Let's just see. Okay, so as you can see, totally shorted. Totally open. Perfect. Awesome. I'm going to put this back in and we'll continue on. Hey, welcome back. So I've been working on this table for about 3 hours now. A lot of behind the scenes stuff that is just impossible to get on to video. A couple disappointments came up right away. I did clean the micro switch and put the whole mechanism back together for the arm lifter assembly. Put the table back together, hit start, and it didn't drop. So that was really frustrating. Went back in, started checking again. I'm getting signal all the way back. And well, yeah, I guess I forgot to plug in the main plug that runs the arm assembly. But even that, once I plugged it in, put it back together, it still didn't drop. So again, more frustration. So, rechecking my work, and this time the other micro switch failed, but it failed open, where the other one would fail closed. And so I went back in, took it apart, and sanded down the contacts again, and put it back together, and finally we've got a little bit of activity going on here. So I am happy to report that this is happening now. We've got good arm elevation, button action here. We're going up. We're going down. We're moving side to side. We're auto returning. We're auto starting in the correct spot, which is awesome. I also want to mention that unless you have the owner's manual for this turntable, you're not going to get very far as far as setting it up. You need it to be able to set up this arm correctly. There are a bunch of issues that you'll get into if this arm is not set up right. Now, number one, if you look under here, there's that little white peg. That white peg sits in a V-shaped enclosure. Now, that peg has to be perfectly positioned in the V. If it's not, your arm will wander. It'll wander left and right, and it'll never start in the correct position. In order to get that V in the correct position, this is really hard to see, but right under the arm, there's a little black bumper, and that sits just above the arm lifter mechanism. That bumper cannot touch the arm lifter mechanism. If it does, you'll never get the white peg into the V. For really good explanation of this, visit vinylengine.com. There's a thread in the forums about this turntable. It's actually about the Pioneer, but it will explain in great detail how to set this arm up. Now, as far as setting up the tracking force, that's no different than any other arm. You're going to balance out your arm. You're going to set the weight as per the tone arm specifications. That's simple. There's an arm elevation control here as well. Now, this sets the parallel of the arm when it's playing. Okay, so because you want the arm to be perfectly parallel as it's tracking across the record. And that can be set up at any time. That's not a big deal. You loosen the big screw there, and then this whole mechanism comes up and down. And once, what you do is you drop the needle down the record very carefully. And once you've got it set up where it's perfectly parallel while it's reading the record, you just tighten the screw back down. But that's not the hardest thing. The hardest thing is getting this arm, that white peg and the black bumper set up perfectly. And it involves loosening that screw right here. You need a screwdriver that will remove the outer nut. And then there's a little screw in the middle that needs to be adjusted. And what you want to do is you want to get that little black bumper. You need a little bit of an air gap, maybe a millimeter. You just want it so it's not touching the arm lifter. Oh, I just started the turntable. Okay. This is the one thing that is annoying about this table. Excuse me for a sec here. Is that it is a little jumpy. And that's because you need a thicker grease, not on the rails, but on the rollers underneath. Just so it's not as jumpy as it is. I mean, as long as you don't touch it, it's okay, but it can be very jumpy if the rails are completely clean. Do not oil them. Okay, number one, do not oil them. They need a little bit of a thicker grease on the rollers themselves. All right, so I think that's it. I'm not going to go too much further into the arm setup. It's just way too in-depth of a process, but just so you're not kept hanging there, let's give this thing a quick test. careful with copyright here. Just trying to get into the lead in groove or lead out grooves here. All right, there's your auto return. The arm's moving very smoothly. And it sits right against its post in its home position. And there you go. So what were the problems with this one? Number one, bad tone arm lifter belt. That's common. Belts go bad and it needs to be replaced. Number two, the arm lifter micro switches. Both were bad. Can you replace them? Yes. If you can find them. They're pretty small size. They're easily opened. They're easily burnished. So why not do that instead? So that's number two. Number three, arm setup. Arm setup is critical. This arm was not even close to being set up. It had absolutely no adjustment whatsoever when we got it. So the white peg is very important. The black bumper is very important. Those have to be adjusted perfectly. The service manual is not very good. I mean, it goes through a lot of steps for troubleshooting and so forth, but I find it misses out on a lot of the important steps, like the 3 big bolts, for instance. So, I mean, you need to get the service manual, no doubt. I did not have to do any electrical adjustments, and thank God for that, because I don't know how I would have did it, because you have to pull out the power plugs in order to get the plinth off. So I'm not sure how you get those power plugs in position and do the electrical tests. Doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, guys, that's it. Those are the 3 big points on this one. That's the Pioneer / Phase Linear Model 8000, also known as the Pioneer PL-1000. Very complicated turntable. If you get one of these, you might want to think about, either bringing it to a professional, although I kind of question whether a professional's worked on one of these, or really digging into that service manual, reading through it, and reading through that vinyl engine thread to really understand what's going on here. This is not a turntable for the faint of heart to service. Hope you enjoyed that one. Definitely one of the most complicated tables I've had on my bench. This and the Pioneer PL-570. They are a lot of work. Pioneer, you're really giving me a heart attack. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.